If you're over 60, you already know this truth. Sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who teach you your hardest lessons, and for me, that lesson arrived in the most unexpected way on a quiet Thursday morning in June. With my reading glasses sliding down my nose and my coffee going cold in my hands, because that was the day I opened my phone and saw photos from a family vacation to Hawaii. A trip I paid for. A trip I wasn't invited to. A trip funded by the personal loan I co-signed out of love. And that moment, that was the first time in 70 years I felt a kind of hurt that settled into my bones like winter frost. The second I saw those photos. You know that moment when everything in your life suddenly looks different? That moment happened when I zoomed in on the picture. There they were, my son, Michael, holding a coconut drink with a tiny umbrella sticking out. My daughter-in-law, Grace, laughing under a rainbow-colored beach hat as she floated in a pool overlooking the ocean. My grandkids, Chloe and Mason, wearing matching Hawaiian shirts I had bought for them last Christmas. And behind them, a resort I knew too well, a resort that wasn't cheap. A resort I had once dreamed of visiting, but never had the time or money. Until I lent them the money. Until they used it without telling me. Until they took a dream that was supposed to be ours and made it theirs alone. The realization that broke me, the first thought in my head wasn't anger. It was confusion. Why didn't they invite me? Did they think I'd say no? Did they forget I exist? I scrolled through every photo slowly, one shaking finger at a time. A family luau, sunset boat tour, snorkeling in crystal waters, a group dinner with smiling faces and tropical flowers tucked behind their ears. I kept waiting for the part where my face would appear in the crowd, where someone had photoshopped me in as a joke, where they held up a sign saying, "We miss you, Mom. Wish you were here." But that moment never came. Not once, not in 74 uploaded photos, not in a single caption, not in a single comment where anyone asked, "Where's Grandma Ida?" My phone screen blurred as tears rose, and I whispered to an empty kitchen. They didn't even think about me. How giving became a lifestyle, I never questioned. I sat down at the table trying to remember when the shift happened, when love turned into obligation, and obligation turned into expectation, and expectation became normal. I remembered the nights I stayed awake babysitting when they were still young parents. I remembered the loan statements, stacked in drawers like unpaid emotional debts. I remembered the holidays I hosted alone, the birthdays I paid for, the gifts I gave even when my own cupboards were thin. It wasn't anger that flooded me. It was grief. Not the grief of losing a family, but the grief of realizing I had lost myself long before, the moment that rebuilt my spine. I stared at those photos for another 10 minutes. Then something inside me snapped and clicked into place like an old drawer finally closing properly. I wasn't angry. I was done being used. Done being taken for granted. Done being the ATM in a rocking chair. Done being the emotional sponge soaking up everyone else's messes. So I stood up slowly. Not out of rage, but out of rediscovery. I walked to the hallway and grabbed my purse. My hands moved without hesitation as I pulled out my phone and opened my contacts. For once in my life, I didn't overthink. I didn't soften. I didn't second guess doubt with 3 simple taps that echoed like a lifetime's worth of boundaries. I blocked them, every single one, the freedom I didn't expect. The silence that followed wasn't painful. It was liberating, like walking out of a storm and realizing you'd been drenched for 20 years. I sat back down, exhaled, closed my eyes. What now? I whispered. For 70 years, my life had been defined by others' needs. But now there was only me. And the strange thing was, it felt good. It felt right. It felt overdue. The decision that changed my life. I wiped the tears from my cheeks and opened my laptop. I didn't know what I was searching for, just that I needed something new, something that belonged only to me. A few clicks later, I found myself looking at a picture of a breathtaking desert spa retreat in Arizona. Terracotta walls glowing under the sunset. Warm pools surrounded by cactus blooms. Private massage cabanas overlooking mountains painted gold. The description read, "A sanctuary for women seeking rest, healing, and rediscovery." My heart tightened. Rediscovery. Yes, that was the word. I clicked book now. Before fear could whisper reasons not to. Then I packed a suitcase, not with the usual grandma practicality, but with clothes I actually liked, perfume I rarely used, and a journal I hadn't written in since my 40s. Within 2 hours I was in a cab to the airport. For the first time in decades, I wasn't traveling for someone else. Not a wedding. Not a family emergency. Not babysitting duty. This trip was for me, only me, the airport revelation. At the airport security line, I realized something surprising. I wasn't guilty, not even a little. I wasn't abandoning anyone. I wasn't betraying anyone. I wasn't running away. I was reclaiming myself. Do you know what 70-year-old women are told? Be grateful they visit. Don't cause drama. Don't speak up. Families are imperfect. Just accept it. Well, I'd accepted enough, and for once, I was choosing my own peace over everyone else's comfort. As the plane took off and the city shrank into tiny lights below, I whispered, "Ida, you deserve this." And for the first time in years, I believed it. Arrival in Arizona, a new chapter begins. The moment I stepped off the plane, the warm desert air hugged me like a blanket left out in the sun. It smelled of cactus flowers and healing. The resort shuttle arrived, driven by a cheerful older man with silver hair and laugh lines. He looked at me through the mirror. First time in Arizona. I nodded. "Treat yourself well out here," he said. "This desert fixes hearts that people broke." I stared out the window, watching the red rocks rise like old giants. And for the first time since Hawaii, I didn't feel hurt looking at beautiful things. I felt hopeful. The grandmas of the desert when we arrived at the resort. I wasn't prepared for what waited for me. As I stepped into the courtyard, 3 older women around my age were sitting together in woven chairs, sipping iced tea and laughing so loudly you could hear the joy from across the gardens. One of them, a tall woman with silver braids and deep brown skin glowing in the sunset, noticed me first. She waved her glass. "Hey there, newcomer. You running away from something or running towards something?" I blinked. "How did you know?" She laughed heartily. "Honey, we're all here for the same reason. When an older woman books this resort alone, it's always the same story. She finally had enough." The other 2 clapped and nodded. "Welcome to the Reborn Grandmas Club," the shorter one said proudly. "We specialize in healing heartbreak, reclaiming boundaries, and drinking margaritas before noon." I couldn't help but smile. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I belonged. The beginning of my healing. That night, as the desert sky turned violet and the stars appeared one by one, I sat on my patio and breathed slowly. For the first time in so long, the air didn't feel tight. My chest didn't feel heavy. My life wasn't perfect. My heart wasn't healed, but something was shifting. Something was changing. Something was beginning. A voice inside me whispered, Ida, this is your second life. Don't waste it. And as I drifted to sleep in the warm hush of the Arizona night, I had no idea how deeply that second life was about to transform me. The next morning in Chicago started exactly the same as every other morning in my quiet little life. The kettle whistled. My knees popped louder than the radio, and the sunlight crept across my kitchen tiles like it had nowhere else to be. But inside me, there was a storm. I kept refreshing the photo album, yes, the same one I should have stopped looking at hours ago. The same one where my family smiled beneath palm trees. Palm trees I paid for. Palm trees I never saw in person. I kept zooming in on their faces as if I'd find a clue in some corner pixel, something that proved they didn't mean to leave me out. Maybe they thought I was too old to fly. Maybe they didn't want to burden me. Maybe this entire painful thing was a misunderstanding. But then I saw it, a photo of my granddaughter, Kennedy, my sweet 8-year-old Kennedy, holding up a "Wish you were here" postcard while laughing. Not toward the camera, toward my daughter-in-law, Paisley, the woman who never liked me. And when I zoomed further, it clicked. The postcard wasn't for me. The postcard was a joke about me. At 8:17 a.m., my phone started ringing. My son's name flashed across the screen. Jason. I stared at it. My thumb hovered. I thought about answering, about pretending I didn't see what I saw, about swallowing my pride like I always do. But then I remembered the bank statement, the loan transfer, the total, $4,300, the memo, family trip support. And my thumb moved on its own. Block. Before guilt could crawl into my chest, I tapped to the next number. Paisley, block. Then my daughter, then my sister, then my nephew who only calls me when he needs Uber money. All of them. Block. My kitchen had never felt so quiet. I expected the guilt to come crashing in like it always did. But it didn't, single quotes, T. Instead, I felt something I hadn't felt since before the arthritis set in, before my husband passed, before I became the family doormat. I felt like as if blocking them didn't close a door, it opened one. I walked into my bedroom, opened the floral envelope where I kept the emergency credit card, and stared at it for a long moment. The practical part of me started lecturing immediately. Ida, you're 68. You have bills, medications, a mortgage. You don't take trips. You don't splurge. You stay home. You budget. But another voice, one I hadn't heard in years, whispered back, honey, you deserve one good thing. I checked my bank balance. I looked up best relaxation retreats for older women. I clicked on a website full of red rocks, warm colors, and sunlight. Sedona, Arizona, a spa retreat that promised healing, peace, renewal, and guided self-discovery. Expensive. Yes, ridiculous. Maybe necessary. Absolutely. I booked a week. A whole week. A queen suite overlooking desert mountains. Morning meditation. Deep tissue massages. A saltwater pool. Sound therapy. Even group sessions about reclaiming purpose. My thumb shook when I confirmed the payment. But then I felt something warm bloom inside my chest. Not guilt. Not fear. Freedom. I packed lightly but deliberately my softest robe, the sandals I only wear on special days, the journal I haven't opened since my husband's funeral. For once, the suitcase wasn't filled with gifts for everyone else. Only things for me. Before leaving, I stood in my doorway for a long time. My quiet little house, My quiet little life. My quiet little heart, always waiting for someone to think of me. Well, I whispered, locking the door. Someone finally did. And that someone was me. At Chicago O'Hare, the loudspeaker announcements blended into white noise, almost soothing. I found my gate, sat down, and took a deep breath. Then a text buzzed. It was from an unknown number, but I could guess who used someone else's phone. Mom. Why are your texts not going through? Call me. It's urgent. I didn't reply. I didn't unblock them. I didn't apologize. Instead, I turned my phone off for the first time in decades. And when the plane took off, the city shrinking beneath me, I felt something I hadn't felt in a very, very long time. Hope. The moment I stepped off the plane in Phoenix, everything felt different. Chicago air was sharp, wet, cold. Arizona air felt like stepping inside a warm hug from a stranger, unexpected, but strangely comforting. The desert sun didn't shine the way Midwest sun did. It glowed like it had a secret, and for the first time in years, I let myself slow down enough to notice it. The shuttle to the retreat wasn't fancy, just a small van with dust on the windows and a driver named Marvin who talked like he'd been alive since the first cactus sprouted. He took one look at me in my modest travel clothes and said, "First time out here?" I nodded. "That obvious?" He chuckled. "Ma'am, people don't come to Sedona unless they're running from something or running towards something." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The desert already knew. The ride was quiet after that, except for Marvin occasionally pointing out things like that there is Cathedral Rock and that bright red cliff. Locals say it pulls truth out of your bones, and that little ridge. People go up there to remember who they were before life tired them out. I stared at those rocks. Something inside me hummed. Remember who I was before life tired me out, before widowhood, before being the family ATM, before becoming invisible. I wasn't sure I remembered that woman anymore, but I wanted to. The retreat sat nestled between red rock formations that looked like they'd been carved by patience itself. The building was shaped like a crescent, all glass and warm wood and soft colors. A young woman named Illa greeted me at the entrance. She wore linen pants, barefoot sandals, and a calm expression that made me wonder if she'd ever even raised her voice before. "Welcome, Miss Ida," she said gently. "We've been expecting you." My chest tightened, not in sadness, but in disbelief. Someone was expecting me, not because they needed something, not because I was paying for something, just because I was coming. After check-in, a guide led me to my room. The bed was big and soft. The balcony overlooked mountains that glowed with the afternoon sun. A small basket sat on the table with handmade soaps, lavender oils, chamomile tea, and a card that read, "This week is for you. Let go." I sat on the bed and stared at that card, my eyes stinging. Let go. I didn't even know how. My first activity was a sunset meditation circle on an open deck facing the red rocks. I almost skipped it. I'd never meditated in my life except for the 5 minutes every morning where I stared at the toaster waiting for it to pop. But I went anyway. About 10 of us sat on cushions. Women in their 60s and 70s, a couple divorced women in their 40s. One young woman with tired eyes who looked like she'd been crying for months. My knees cracked loudly when I sat down, earning a few laughs. For once, the laughter wasn't mean. It was warm. A guide named Luca began speaking in a calm, grounded voice. "Tonight, we release whatever we carried here. Not to forget it, but to stop letting it choke us. He passed around a small bowl of smooth river stones. Pick one, he said. And imagine it's the weight you no longer want to carry. I picked a stone small, oval, warm from the sun. He continued, when you're ready, whisper to it what it represents. The others whispered immediately. I didn't doubt my stone sat in my palm like it was waiting. I swallowed. My throat tightened. The desert wind brushed against my cheek gently, like it was nudging me. I whispered, being unappreciated. I felt something crack open inside me. At the end of the session, we placed our stones in a bowl of cool water to symbolize release. When I dropped mine in, I swear I felt something leaving me. Not everything, but something. I wiped my eyes before anyone noticed. That someone did. The young woman with the tired eyes whispered, you deserved better. I didn't know what she was running from. She didn't know what I'd left behind, but somehow she knew. Back in my room, as the desert breeze drifted through the curtains, my phone vibrated inside my purse. I still hadn't turned it on, but it buzzed with stored messages as soon as its screen lit. 14 missed calls, 6 voicemails, 9 texts from an unknown number. My family. I stared at the notifications. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't tremble. Instead, I said out loud, to no one but the desert, I came here to breathe. And I powered the phone right back off. That night, I stepped onto the balcony. The sky was pitch black and full of more stars than I'd ever seen in Chicago. It didn't look real. It looked like something stitched by an old, patient hand. I felt the loneliness trying to creep back in. The hurt, the betrayal, the ache of being left out by the people I loved most. But instead of drowning in it, I let it sit beside me. Not consuming me, not defining me. Just sitting. For the first time in years, I felt stronger than the loneliness. And under that sky, wrapped in warm desert wind, I whispered, this is my life too. And for once, I believed it. By the third morning at the retreat, something in me had softened, not healed, not forgotten, but softened. I woke up to sunlight warming my cheeks, the smell of sage drifting through the window, and the quiet hum of people beginning their day. Gentle footsteps, low laughter, the clinking of ceramic mugs in the outdoor dining area. It felt nothing like home, which was exactly what I needed. I went to a stretching class at sunrise. My joints sounded like bubble wrap, and I fell over twice when we did a balancing pose. But the instructor just laughed kindly and said, falling is proof you're trying. Nobody judged me. Nobody sighed or rolled their eyes or said, Mom, why don't you sit down before you hurt yourself? Here, I wasn't a burden. I was a person, a woman rediscovering herself. After breakfast, I joined a journaling workshop in a quiet room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the red rocks. The instructor, a silver-haired woman named Gloria, said something that pierced me like a needle through fabric. Most women bleed themselves dry for people who don't even notice. And one day they wake up and realize they don't recognize themselves anymore. Today, you start writing the version of you that you want back. A rustle went through the room. Some women wiped their eyes. I wasn't immune either. My throat tightened. Gloria set a timer and gave us a prompt. Right about the moment you started disappearing, my pen hovered over the page. There wasn't one moment, not one single event. It was 1,000 small things. The holidays I cooked for 20 while everyone else watched football. The birthdays I paid for because money was tight for them. The babysitting, the picking up, the dropping off. The vacations they took without me. The loan I gave them that became expected instead of appreciated. And then, Hawaii. The moment I realized I wasn't just overlooked, I was forgotten. After a while, Gloria came by and gently said, "Ida, you're shaking." I looked down. She was right. My hands trembled over the paper. "I don't know who I am without serving everyone," I whispered. She put her hand over mine. "Then let this week teach you." Later that afternoon, I booked a deep tissue massage. If I'm being honest, I'd never had one before. The idea of someone kneading my back like dough felt strange. But the moment the therapist began, my eyes watered not from pain, but realization. I had no idea how tense I'd been, how much pain I'd ignored, how much I had carried that wasn't mine to carry. She pressed her palm between my shoulder blades and said softly, "This spot holds emotional weight, usually from people who rely on you too much." It was like she'd read a book about my entire life. The weight loosened. Just a little. But enough. After the session, I returned to my room to change for a guided nature walk. That's when I saw my phone, lying face down on the bedside table, vibrating nonstop. Even though it was still on silent, a chill ran down my spine. Something was wrong. My hands shook as I picked it up. I hesitated, staring at the black screen. Turning it on meant inviting the world back in. The world I'd run from, but something in me whispered, "Check, just this once." I turned it on. Immediately 28 missed calls, 17 voicemails, 36 text messages. Not from Jason's number, not from Paisley's, from a number I didn't recognize. St. Mary's Medical Center, Chicago. My heart dropped. The world tilted. The air thinned. I tapped the voicemail. A calm but urgent voice filled my ear. "Hello, this is Nurse Thompson from St. Mary's. We've been trying to reach you regarding a patient, Jason Miller. He listed you as his emergency contact. Please call us back immediately." I froze. Everything inside me went silent. Jason, my son, my only boy. My knees wobbled, and I had to sit before I fell. The next voicemail was clearer. "Your son was admitted this afternoon following a fall while hiking with family friends. He's stable, but he requested you be notified. Requested me. Not Paisley. Not his friends. Me. And that's when my emotions crashed over me all at once. Fear, shock, guilt, love, confusion. And underneath it all, a question that sliced me open. Was this karma? Was this punishment for blocking them? Or was this the universe forcing me to face everything I tried to escape? I played the next voicemail. "Mom, please pick up. I know you blocked us. I know you're angry. Just please call back." Then another. "Mom, I'm scared. Please. Please don't ignore this." Then silence. Then the one that broke me. "Mom, I'm sorry for everything. I promise I'll explain. I love you." By the end, I was crying so hard the mountains outside blurred into red smudges. I turned the phone off. Then on, then off again. My mind was spinning. Part of me wanted to run straight to the airport. Part of me wanted to collapse. Part of me wanted to scream. And yet another part whispered, "You came here to heal. If you return now, you go back as the old Ida, not the woman you're becoming." I didn't know what the right choice was, but I knew I couldn't make it alone. I wiped my face, grabbed my robe, and headed toward the meditation deck, the same place where I'd whispered to a river stone, because the desert didn't lie. And tonight, I needed the truth. I found Luca, the meditation guide, sitting cross-legged on the deck with a cup of herbal tea. The sun had dipped low, painting the sky gold and rose. The air hummed with a strange kind of quiet, the kind that doesn't ask questions, but waits for honesty. He looked up before I even opened my mouth. "You're carrying something heavy," he said gently. I sat beside him, wipes still in my robe pocket, heart still shaking inside my chest. "My son." I choked. "He's in the hospital." Luca didn't gasp, didn't flood me with sympathy. He just nodded. "And you don't know whether to go back or stay?" "Yes." My voice was a whisper. "How did you know?" He sipped his tea. "Because running away from pain is easy. Running toward it, that's where truth lives." I stared at the desert stretching endlessly beyond us. I blocked them, I admitted. I was so tired of being used, so tired of being invisible. "And now?" he asked. I don't know who's right. The Ida who blocked them, or the one who wants to get on the next flight out. He placed his cup down and looked at me, really looked at me. Double quotes Ida. "Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors. You choose when to open them." I closed my eyes. The desert breeze brushed my cheeks like a hand wiping away all pain. "Do you think I'm a bad mother?" I whispered. "No," Luca said. "You're a mother who finally chose herself. And now the universe is asking you, what kind of mother do you want to be going forward? Not backward." The question sliced me open, because the answer wasn't simple. I didn't want to be the woman who got walked on. But I also didn't want to be the woman who abandoned her child when he needed her. I wanted balance. I wanted self-respect. I wanted love that flowed both ways. But most of all, I wanted honesty, even if it hurt. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the balcony under a sky full of stars that looked older than every mistake I'd ever made. I finally whispered to the darkness, "I'll go, but I won't go back as the woman they broke." The words felt right, like truth, like healing. So I booked a flight for the next morning. Then I powered off my phone, not out of anger this time, but out of peace. For once, I knew exactly who I was. The airport was quiet at sunrise. The world felt heavy and bright at the same time. Like grief and hope were sharing the same seat beside me. On the plane, I replayed the voicemails again, not to punish myself, but to understand. Jason's voice trembled when he said he was scared. He wasn't a little boy anymore, but in those recordings, he sounded like the child who used to wake me up from nightmares. And for the first time, it hit me. He reached out to me. Not because I had money, not because I owed them something, but because I was mom. Flawed, human, hurting, but his mom. When I arrived at St. Mary's, my heart pounded so hard I could feel it in my teeth. A nurse led me to his room. And there he was, my son, with a bandage on his forehead, a bruised arm, and the soft, fragile look of someone who'd been forced to slow down. His breathing hitched when he saw me. "Mom." I froze at the doorway. So many emotions collided inside me: anger, love, hurt, relief. But love spoke first. "I'm here," I whispered. He reached out, and I walked to him. He pulled me into a gentle hug, careful of his injuries. It was awkward at first, stiff. Then it broke open and we both cried. The messy, real kind, the kind that cleans something inside you. When we pulled apart, his eyes were red. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "The Hawaii thing, it was wrong. I didn't think." I let Paisley plan everything and I didn't stop her. "But Mom, the loan, I was going to pay you back. I swear." I swallowed hard. "It wasn't about the money, Jason." He nodded. "I know. It was about me forgetting you. I didn't realize how much I leaned on you until you cut us off." But you were right to. I took you for granted. He wiped his eyes. Embarrassed, I don't want to be that son anymore. I squeezed his fingers lightly. And I don't want to be the mother who lets herself disappear. He laughed a little through the tears. So, we start over. I nodded, on equal ground. A week later, after his discharge, Jason insisted on taking me out for a small dinner, his treat. Not mine. It wasn't Hawaii. It wasn't fancy, but it was honest. We talked like two adults with history. Not a mother used up, not a son entitled. Just two flawed humans trying again. When the check came, he grabbed it before I could even reach for my purse. Mom, he said softly, you gave enough. Let me give now for the first time in a long time. I let someone take care of me, and it didn't feel selfish, it felt earned, it felt right. A month later, I returned to the Arizona retreat, not to run away, but to continue healing. This time, I wasn't escaping something. I was choosing something. Myself. My boundaries. My worth. My peace. And under the desert sky, warm and ancient, I whispered, I am Ada, and I matter. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt it in my bones. If this story touched you, let me know where you're watching from. Your comments inspire the next story. And if you enjoy emotional, real-life tales like this, make sure to subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive.